Chairwoman Harris, your stream is now live.
Good afternoon.
Hey, Michelle. She got a laptop. Listen, I ain't seen with the laptop out.
Did we lose Commissioner Harris, Chairwoman?
I'm back in.
Okay.
Guys, today is March the 11th, 2022. This is a special called meeting of the Richland 1 Board of Commissioners. One agenda item is the policy ADD for face coverings. We do have, pursuant to FOIA, the public has been noticed on the special call meeting. There is one item. If we can have a motion to go into session.
I move that we go into session, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner King.
Second, Jamie
It's
Devine.
been second by Commissioner Devine. I believe Eva is on taking notes as well, everyone. Point of discussion or question? Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those that oppose say nay. Okay, the ayes have it. Again, we have one item on the agenda, and before we go into that item, I just want to thank the Board of Commissioners and Dr. Witherspoon and the staff for an excellent job in how we have handled and navigated through the COVID pandemic. It's been a rough 2 years, but it's good to see some light at the end of the tunnel. We're glad to hear, I believe that today our numbers in Richland County are now low. So this is perfect timing for us to have this discussion and to make these moves. So there's a policy that was brought before us, which was policy ADD. Commissioner Devine, I know that you have a motion. If we can start there so we can go ahead and take care of this part of the business.
No, I think Dr. Witherspoon probably needs to talk first, I would think.
Okay, Dr. Witherspoon, you want to go ahead first? I thought we were discussing namely the policy and
Yeah,
okay.
that's correct, Commissioner Harris. And to Commissioner Harris and members of the board, as you've indicated, we did go to the county is now listed as
Right.
as low. The board did take action on Tuesday, the 8th. That action was approved. That spoke to repealing or rescinding policy ADD, and after that, the chair and by motion of the board as well asked that we have a call meeting today to get further information from the administration regarding that policy. That being said, Madam Chair, it was the recommendation of administration, and please listen to the whole thing, that the board keeps policy ADD face covering and provide a mask option for students and staff effective Monday, March 14th, and that the other items that were approved on the board with the board's action on Tuesday be handled through the administration. There were some items, again, relative to health rooms and so forth that but still in essence move to mask optional as we have discussed and as the board did approve. Letting the administration work through those other items. Administration still recommends.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration to maintain the mask policy, but to create the mask option and the other recommendations as previously stated. What's the pleasure of the board?
Move for approval, Madam Chair.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Bishop. It's been seconded by Commissioner Devine. We will now open the floor for any questions or comments before we take the vote. Seeing none, hearing none, we will call for the vote.
Chairwoman Harris,
Uh,
I don't know if can you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Lomanak, you have the floor.
I just want to make sure that I'm a little bit confused, and I think it's probably my fault. But if we're the policy ADD that was provided to us as part of this meeting, that
Madam Chair, if I might. Yeah.
there were some recommended changes to it. Are we not dealing with that, and just Dr. Witherspoon is going to create a mask optional policy?
Right, what
and
we're gonna do, Mr. Lomanak, is we won't get rid of the policy, but what we would do, we will amend the policy now to have mask option.
And Madam Chair, if I might, to Mr. Lomanak's point, yes, thus the administration's recommendation in terms of keep the policy, but because we do feel like there needs to be some revisions, but in the meantime, moving to that optional
Right.
effective Monday.
Right.
Mr. Lomanak, to your point.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry that I was confused.
Yeah.
Now that
So,
clears up. Thanks.
yes, so to clarify, we're gonna go to mass option on March 14th, but we're gonna just add that piece to the policy that we have mass option. Okay, everybody clear? All right, we'll call for
Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
Commissioner King.
I'm sorry, apologize, Madam Chair. I think
That's
that,
okay.
so that I'm clear.
Okay,
So the vote that we took Tuesday was to revoke the policy.
right, there was to rescind the policy.
So the policy is rescinded.
Right, so
What that means is that there is essentially no mask policy, which essentially makes it automatically an optional.
but the motion that we're making, Ms. King, is to keep the policy because we may need it 10, 20 years from now, 5 years from now. But instead, just to add the mask option to the policy now.
So I understand that if
If you recall, we voted.
No, Ms. Harris, just a minute, say.
Oh,
So
okay.
no, please help me. I mean, I've got to proceed in steps to make it clear. So at the last, and I understand and I agree with you, but I just need to have some, and I think the public needs to have some very, very clear communication on it. So when we took the vote last time, we essentially repealed the policy, but I was within the understanding that there would be either a policy that there would be a policy that would address exactly.
Correct.
So,
and what we're saying is the wording of the policy fits. We're just going to make amendments to it and to amend it to say mass option. So instead of writing a whole new policy, we would keep the policy and add the changes.
But so my question is, Ms. Harris, the way I'm reading the policy right now, first of all, it's very confusing and contradictory and needs, I think, more work. So that's my first point. The second point is that what we usually have a process of bringing policies in committee so we can hash out those details, and there needs to be 2 readings. So I'm not sure if you could clarify for me today.
Well, I mean,
what
we
can
do the 2 readings, but that would mean that the mask mandate would stay in place for another month. Because 2 readings has got to cycle 2 committees and 2 board meetings.
Well, what if?
So that was the purpose of rescinding the policy, to bring this policy back with all of the same information with just the amended changes. That way, the policy, the mass option could go in effect immediately, which is March 14th, Monday.
What if, may I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
Obviously we don't want to have any holes. And we're usually very thoughtful about that.
Right.
What if since we rescinded the policy and we agreed, and I think everybody agrees that there needs to be, like, for example, Mr. Devine had a great suggestion on keeping the mask in health rooms and in other contexts. what if we allow Dr. Witherspoon to write a letter and send communication to all of our all of our families and staff outlining what those are
Ms.
until
King, it's
we're
already in process. We just need to approve the policy. That's why we need to take this step, because he can't do any of that until he's even created the video. But he can't do any of that until the board agrees to these changes. We have to deal with the policy in order for him to make a move in the instance of what you're describing right now, that he's going to communicate with our families. Already in the works.
So, Ms. Harris, will we continue working on this policy? So what we have.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. I just think in order for us to immediately go to mass option, let's deal with that and approve this. So Dr. Witherspoon can go ahead and communicate with his families and let them know what direction we're headed in. And then we can take this policy and vet it for 2 meetings. That's fine. I wholeheartedly agree with that.
So Ms. Harris, can you please clarify for me the vote that we're taking? Are we voting to approve the policy?
The vote that we're taking today is to keep the policy with amended changes that allow for mass option. And if you heard Dr. Witherspoon said he will come back with those things about the health room, etc. That's what we can do in committee. But right now, let's go ahead and approve adding mass option to the policy so Dr. Witherspoon can get that communicated out immediately.
Ms. Harris, would it be okay if you or someone of the administration would actually read that policy that is presented today? Because we voted on the policy that's presented to us today, right?
Yes, we are voting on, right now, Ms. King, we're really voting.
No, Ms. Harris, we're not voting on the policy that's presented to us today.
We're voting to add mass option to the policy, Ms. King.
That is it. That's all he's asking.
We have to vote to add it in order for it to go into effect.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Are you putting a date on it, mass optional, as of March 14th, 2022?
Absolutely.
Correct. That's part of the motion.
Communication will go out as soon as we're done.
Thank you, Mr. Devine. I'm sorry, and I know it's on me, probably. I was just confused when I read the policy as it stands. I didn't see that anywhere, so I was a little confused, but thanks for clarifying that.
Yeah, absolutely. If there are no other questions, we're going to call for the vote, and the vote is to add mass options effective March 14th, 2022 to policy ADD. It's been motioned and properly second. We've cleared point of discussion and debate. We'll now call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those that oppose say no.
Aye.
Ayes have it. It's a super majority. That exhausts our agenda. As I stated previously, there will be some communication that Dr. Witherspoon will now be allowed to send out to our parents and our faculty and staff. Thank you all for being on the call. Have a great day. Without any objection from the board, we're dismissed.
Thank you.
All right.